Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
She's forced to DC.
Oh, we could.
He says, even if you put the shiny thing on, you're still gonna have cracks.
She, hey,
Can
Grant,
you hear me, Brent?
you might want to talk to her. This is Donnie. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And when that's something too that has, it's hard because we're signing off on it at the end, it's not.
All right, so we're back on the Director of Schools contract employment. The thing we were discussing was the how many years that we would go in, and then, the Part D of number 15.
Yeah.
I've got this email I can send everybody, talking about the director's contract. TSBA suggested, they said the only thing they would suggest was to add a severability clause that would be similar to the following. It says that the board and the director agree that in the event that any part of this contract is made invalid or illegal under federal or state law, that does not change the contract. They opinion that we should add that into the contract somewhere. It's not gonna make, and he changed my password or get him email, because I couldn't get in and I didn't have a computer earlier. Cause it says this, the remainder of this contract shall continue in full force and effect with that part stricken out. So it's just saying if there's a state law that changes and something in that contract says something now, but if the law changes and says that's not legal, that the contract should say, you know, that don't void the whole contract. And I can send that to everybody, that what I sent, cause I sent it to them, to TSBA to look at. And you can contact, you know, Ben Torres is the attorney for TSBA, he said, you know, like, on the contact, you know, I got the email that he sent.
Okay, so he said that we needed to do that, and then it was the only change in there. So you're gonna send the email out to us?
Yeah.
So I guess first we'll start with the term of the contract. Everybody wants to go down to 2 years on there. So what?
Ain't me. I thought they shared you.
Not me, that's how I feel.
What are you taking it for?
Because I wanted to make sure I didn't find them so solid. I've gotten those looks before.
I think 2 years should be minimum. I mean, that, you know, if you do a 1-year contract, you're turning around doing this all over again next year.
No, I agree on that, and my whole thing, and it's been my entire thing since, I first got on the board, is we need some kind of continuity in leadership. If you have change,
Oh, I'm full.
yeah, if you have change
I
that,
don't like the every two, it's like we gotta, every year or so we're evaluating it.
well, I mean, we evaluate every year, but the contract is, and then, you know, with the average being and changing every 2 years, then it becomes to the point of where any employee thinks, oh, I don't have to change, because in a couple of years, you'll be gone, and the next person's gonna go a completely different direction, and they may be going in the direction that I am.
So there's pluses and there's minuses to it. So the minuses could be if you're renewing the contract, you do not break the continuity. However, in this situation, we're considering a higher salary than what he was receiving prior to this contract. So, I don't think anybody on this panel is perfect. Donnie's not perfect, I'm not perfect, but we've had some major hiccups over the last 12 months. And I don't wanna recant those, but I think it's common knowledge. I don't think everybody's 100% happy with the total performance over the last 12 months or the last 24 months. So I don't want to extend a 4-year contract. I would like a 12-month contract, but that's me. But I think we need to call a spade, and in my situation, or in my opinion, I don't think that things are perfect right now. And I think by minimizing the length of the contract, that gives incentive for Donnie to make some changes that will help him to maintain continuity for the board and for himself. That's my total opinion on it.
Okay.
I'm not against a raise. I'm gonna ask a question, and I don't know the answer, but, and everybody deserves a raise, I agree with that. Is everybody in our county too up to what the counties our size makes, salary wise? Is our teachers, is our staff, is our bus drivers, is everybody up to what other counties that's equal to us? You know, Chris?
Maybe we've not looked so close at support, but we have tried to look at teachers and instructional, all the instructional fields.
Are we up with schools that's our size? Not against the raise for the director, I'm not against that, but I'm saying, I wanna do the same for everybody.
I think we are on the teachers.
Well, we've had, I think, at least 3 pay raises since I've been on this board.
Correct.
And so we've done everything we could do for the county. Now, the school system is the largest employer in this county.
Yes.
And with all that I've said about Donnie and his performance, it's the hardest job probably in the county, based upon the feedback from the parents and the students and the teachers and the board. The amount of money that he's getting would be compensated, I think, is more than fair. When you compare us to other counties and you consider the magnitude of what the director of schools gets, I think the salary is adequate. I think I don't have a problem with that salary. And if anybody thinks that it's too much money, try doing the job yourself. It's not an easy task. I think the salary's fine. I just have concerns about 4 years versus the 2 years.
And going on the salary that was there, the only thing that would be included in this salary is the bump ups that we have done for the teachers that he did not receive.
Yes.
He has not received anything over the past 4 years. It is being set at that one amount. And that's the only bump up that would be in this 108,000 would be what the teachers received.
Well, I'm not against them getting a raise, no, by no means, but I just want to make sure we treat everybody the same. Everybody's the same.
And that's what we have been doing over the past 4 years, has been trying to equal out the pay scale, make it where if we give a raise here, it can go there. And then we've got the state that's saying we have to raise
New
all
teachers.
teachers up $12,000 over the course of, I think it was 7 years. And that's what we're in the progress of. So that would be where the compensation part of that came in, is just,
It's our last payment for the teachers. new
it's
teachers.
making it equitable of what we've done with teachers, so we're going to make it equitable with the director of schools.
I'd just like to say that, I know that Dr. Holman's made mistakes, he's not perfect, but I think that he's learned from his mistakes. In August of this year, I will be some way involved with Overton County Schools for 59 years. I mean, that's a long time, that's longer than some of your parents have been around. I have seen a lot of what we used to call superintendents come and go. And I'll have to say that I've seen some that are a lot worse than Dr. Holman, that's made a lot worse mistakes. So, I've just got that to say in his favor.
I will admit I've made mistakes. I'll be the first to say that, but I'm working hard every day to do the best I can. I irritate people here in this building, chasing them around like those two sitting there. We work hard every day to try to get as much done as we possibly can. we have a good time working hard, we get along, you know, but, I do apologize for any mistakes that I've made, but, that they were definitely not made on purpose, that's for sure and certain, so. And I work hard every day to try to do better, so. And I will try to do better in the future.
That's like me, I'm on an improvement plan too.
I stay on the
For
improvement
quite
plan,
some
so.
time.
I've got a question about this email we got sent from the chairman. It's basically telling us we need to keep the director we got, but can we get that email? I mean,
What?
because this email says we need to keep continuity and we've had changes in directors and we need to keep the continuity. I mean, we can't talk about that in emails or how we're gonna vote, can we?
The email that I sent out, it did say that continuity helps bring stability to the school system and all of that, but it wasn't in any way to tell you how to vote on this. It was just giving you information that was out there about the test scores that you had asked about, the school scores that you had asked about on there, and just saying that, you know, it is important for continuity.
Sure. Somebody gets the button on the phone.
I'm going back with Melissa's idea, just coming in and hearing out everyone else's opinion about the director as well, just to kind of, because we only see so much of it, we're there with him every day.
What did she say? It's hard to hear.
She said that we should see what, everybody that works with Dr. Holman says about, they work with him every day, we only get to see a part of it here.
So how do y'all wanna do that? I mean, do you wanna
Well, most school
voluntarily
systems-
ask people to come in, or?
Most school systems take anonymous evaluations from superintendents, or from principals and from staff in the central office too. I know that's probably not been the way we've done it here, but I know counties around us do that.
Well, and then you lean, sometimes anonymous things aren't so anonymous.
Well, they can write their name out if they want to.
Principals knew they were being evaluated, they came in and said, we're giving evaluations to all your teachers, and, then we'll come back and,
Yeah, but I'm talking about
Look
them
at it.
evaluating the director too.
not a lot of counties do that. I have
Fentress
somebody-
County does that.
Well-
I know several other ones.
But I mean, it's not required, and not every county does it.
Well, I mean,
because
that's for the board, it'd
it's
be up to the board.
ambiguous sometimes, say, some people out in the schools are not as connected as you think to the director. They are more connected to their principal.
But I mean, Melissa and Ashley's point is they're working with the director every day, we're not. So, I mean, that's good to hear that side too, because all of us
Yes.
are not here every day.
At work, everybody's together, and there's only one school.
Well, my question is, if you wanna go that route,
We should,
how are you gonna do it?
well, you could plan for it maybe in the next year, if that's something that you want to do. I don't know how you do it.
Will they send it in when we send
You're
ours in?
gonna have to put your name on it, I put my name on mine.
My question on like your director's evaluation, you have a staff and personnel relationships. If you're not asking those staff and personnel, how you filling that out? As far as getting a number for that director whenever you filled that out this time. So if you're not talking to those staff currently, you're not gonna, I mean, you're just putting down a number.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, how many people have you talked, the ones that I've talked to, don't necessarily want their name to be, because they're afraid they may not be working here anymore. I mean, that's the
I don't put their
honest
name.
truth about asking them for their opinion at the school.
And if they wanna give it to me, they give it to me. If not, then I'm not gonna hold them.
Well, and one thing that you have to keep in mind on this right here too, is that with the board, anything that we have to talk to anybody else about, it's supposed to go through the director. We're not supposed to be going out and talking to teachers, we're not supposed to be going out and talking to principals, we're not supposed to be going out and talking to supervisors. Any communication through us is supposed to flow through the director of schools. Do we go out and we hear what they have to say sometimes? Yes, we do. But technically, if you go by the way that it is, and they've said it in the TSBA meetings and everything else, is that everything that comes through us flows through the director. That's why we're reviewing, that's why we're hiring, is because we hire one employee, which is the director of schools. They hire everybody else.
But if those folks reach out to the board members, they're welcome to listen to those people.
Yeah, they can listen on it, but that's.
But they shouldn't solicit that information, is what you're saying.
And my comment, going back to Ashley's point about if that's something,
William,
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
we could do an anonymous survey that we could just send out in just a small amount of time.
Well, and that's what, in there, the thing that gets me is you always have to have that one person that's going to somehow get that information. They're gonna know where that came from, so then anonymous surveys are no longer anonymous. That's what,
Well, we could do paper surveys and they could just turn them in.
but they still have to come from somebody. You see, if you walk in and give it to somebody, then that person's gonna know, hey, this is what that person put on there.
I still think every staff member needs an opportunity to do that.
So you cannot do like a Survey Monkey where those are anonymous?
We've done
you can
this
send it
on
through their
Survey
email through
Monkey in the
Survey
past,
Monkey, yeah.
which
Yeah.
was just-
Because we do that at the hospital all the
Yeah.
time.
But then, the way it has been in my previous, that I've done on there, you send that out, but it's still attached to something, whether it's attached to, you may be logged into this account, or you may be logged into that.
Not the surveys we take, like the hospital does, they're not tied to, they don't have a name.
no, when you get done, you submit them and it goes in, it's not, you don't have to email it back, they don't know who
Okay.
it's coming from.
I mean, I feel like
I
we
mean,
get more
I don't know
honest
if Brent could set a
answers
survey
that
up
way.
to. But my point is, if we're gonna do that, it needs to be done quickly, and we need to meet before the next meeting. We're gonna have to sit back again and meet and go over these survey results on what, to make a decision. I
But
mean, we're
once
still
again,
gonna
we were
look-
coming here tonight to vote on it, and we don't even have everybody's evaluations now, and we were gonna vote on it.
Well, I'm just saying, we're still gonna have to have a work session
Oh, I know.
to go over those results.
Let's have one.
You should have had one, I think.
You'd have to form the document, I mean, that has to be made out.
How long will that take to create a survey and send it out?
That can be done in 5 minutes, guys. Brent Frazier is a master at that.
You just
said
answered that for me.
Listen, he's sitting out here in the audience going,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll have to look into that and let you know.
So what questions you asking?
Brent, I know firsthand.
He can virtually do that.
Can't hide from his brand.
So who's gonna come up with the questions?
That's the key to it.
Wouldn't it be the same valuation we filled out?
A lot of that stuff.
Well,
They wouldn't know a
They
lot of
wouldn't know
that.
on the evaluation, because it's gonna be saying, hey, how well does the director communicate with you? He's not gonna give them updates that he's giving us on things that are happening.
But I mean, if it's a supervisor, he talks to them. I mean, if it's a superintendent or a principal at a school, he's,
Most of the time, the principal of the school's the one that's bringing it to him.
Yeah.
I know what I'm saying, on the evaluation, they would know about his, communication with them, because he's communicating with them too.
Or what they think on his leadership here in the office with them, how many times he needs help with them.
And then another thing, another consideration that we gotta take in there to do that right there, anybody who has an axe to grind is gonna submit something, and anybody who is thinking, oh, he's doing an all right job, I don't have to worry about this, and put it in there, they're not going to. Cause I've seen that happen too.
I have something to tell you about my first evaluation at Hillham as a principal, and this goes to what you're saying. Diane Sadler wheeled in and, said, well, we're gonna do evaluations for you, Shirley, and we're giving them out to all your teachers. And I said, fine. So, when they're all in and scored, or whatever you wanna call it, her comment was, bad news. A third of your teachers like you very much. A third of your teachers do not. And a third don't really care one way or the other. And that was my first evaluation as a principal. So, I mean, I gave them to everybody, so, but it was just, and I think the ones that didn't care one way or the other just didn't care about doing the survey or anything like that, but you do get all kinds of answers. I felt like everybody liked me.
I had one, Shirley, where, some people thought I hung the moon and the others thought
That's
that I
what you
was the
said.
devil.
Well, she put it in different words.
Was it a third of them, a third and a third, or half and
A
half?
third, a third.
There was some
60,
of them
40,
that thought that 10% that thought I hung the moon, 10% thought I was the devil, and the rest of them said, she's okay.
What about the assistant director? Could they come up with a survey?
Well, I mean, we can send the same stuff out, but as board members, we also do need to take that into consideration that.
Principals, they deal more with him than teachers. Principals are the main conduit to the
Principals and
director.
supervisors, yeah.
And they really deal more, the principals out in the schools and the assistant principals deal more with the director than teachers.
Well, yeah, we wasn't talking about sending, that's what I was saying, principals, I think we're talking about sending it to every teacher in the whole system. They're not all dealing with the director like the principals are. Maybe supervisors and principals are probably.
William,
Yes.
here's the thing, I would just like to have a rounded view from everybody that works, with the director, whoever it may be. We have our evaluation of him, and I apologize if I sound funny, I'm on a cruise, river cruise right now with probably 200-300 high school seniors, and I'm in the cabin with the captain. So, I just think that we need a fair evaluation from people that actually work in the school, on a day-to-day basis with the director. We do work with him, but in a different capacity, whether it be Dr. Holman or whoever the director is. I just think it's a good practice. You know, like I told you all earlier, I work for a state special school, and I get evaluated and surveyed by every person in the building that I'm over. So it just tells me things that I need to improve on, things that I'm not doing, things that I am doing right.
So the question is, do we take the same evaluation we do, put it into SurveyMonkey, send it out? That's the question then.
How long do you leave it
I
out for?
wouldn't think all of it was relevant or that they were aware of, unless they could just put NA, not applicable. I mean, a lot of that they might not know or have an opinion one way or the other.
Grant, what's the timeline you can get it together and get it out, and then I'll get with you and we'll get the answers back and I can disseminate it to the board.
If we've got the, questions, it should be pretty, quick to do.
Okay. So we'll send out the same evaluation that we got and give all the questions to them.
Questions 1 through 14 that's just board questions, so
Yeah.
that takes
There
out.
are some on there that are just board questions.
Then you have community relationship, and then, staff and personnel relationships.
So you're looking at 24 through,
24 through 30.
then you got
30,
leadership.
Yeah, business and
33.
finance, educational leadership. So,
Look
And they
at,
wouldn't
take
need
out the ones
finance
that are
either.
just board.
So you can go
For
for
educational, is there 37?
business and finance. No, there's nothing.
I thought just 37.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Strategic planning. Move that one down now on the bottom page.
I think strategic planning is a good one to keep in there for supervisors, leadership,
Staff personnel.
so do you wanna take, what's the community, 24 down to 37?
Well, 15, community relationships.
So question 15 through 37?
So if we do that, it's going to be community relationships is an effective spokesman for the school, is respected and supported by the community in conducting the operations of the school. Number 17, builds public support for the school district. 18, defends principles in the face of pressure of partisan influence. 19, develops cooperative relationships with the news media. 20, participate actively in community life and affairs. 21, achieve status as a community leader in public education. 22, works effectively with public and private agencies. 23, establish strong relationship with public and private agencies. 24, treats all personnel fairly without favoritism or discrimination while insisting on performance of duties. Recruits and assigns the best available personnel. Maintains up-to-date job descriptions for all personnel, has a vision and communicates a mission for the school system. 28 is promotes academic rigor and excellence for students. 29, models the highest professional standards to staff and community. And then you said, was it through 29 or was it through 37?
37.
So 30 is has an understanding of the needs of the school program, facilities, equipment, supplies, and the budget required. Supervises operations, insisting on complete and efficient performances. Ensures the funds are spent wisely and adequately control and accounting are maintained. Provides accurate and timely reports to the board on the financial conditions of the school system. Works effectively with board staff and community to develop long-range and short-term strategic plans. Keeps board and community informed of progress towards short and long-range plans. Develops a 5-year plan which includes strategies, goals, and projected student outcomes. Inspires others to achieve the vision of the school system.
Other counties have different evaluations. The school board does a different one than the principals do. I mean, it's less questions on the one the principals do than the one that the school board members do. Fentress County, I don't know if we could look at theirs and see what they're doing, because they do, you know, evaluations from other supervisors, but they have different questions on them too. They're the same as what we got there, though, I don't know.
Of course, they'd have a place on the side for comments, they could write what they wanted to in there too, just like ours is.
Like, what, well, this form has it,
Yes,
he knows that.
The survey can have
Yeah.
comments too.
yeah.
And if you don't have an opinion one way or the other, or you don't know this, can you just skip it, I guess, on the survey? Is that what you do on the monkey?
We probably need to take out 33. Provides accurate and timely reports to the board on the financial condition of the.
Yeah, they would know that. Oh, yeah. The halls are gone.
All right, so anybody have any other problems with the ones that I read off?
You mean the 15 through 37 minus 32,
33.
33.
Are those the questions we'd like to use, or?
And we have Crystal to
We need to.
collect those and send an email out with a summary, so that we can exclude the ones we don't think is, that we say that we don't think is proper. That way we've got a clean document to look at before we agree to it.
We need to get a copy of that, I didn't.
Yeah. We'll get with Crystal after this meeting, and then we'll get those typed up so that we can get those so you can look at them all.
Yeah, that's-
Now, in.
But I wouldn't make it extensive.
Yeah.
And everyone that needs to take into consideration, if you've got a disgruntled employee, it doesn't matter how good a job you've done, you're gonna get negative feedback from a certain percentage of disgruntled employees.
On this right here, do we need to remove where it says with board and just leave it as staff and when we do the get the questions and everything?
I don't think they have an idea how he deals with the board. I don't think it's good at that.
Actually, if it's anything that has to deal with the board, that don't need to be in there.
That's right.
Because, I mean, they're not dealing with us.
What about the budget?
They don't know anything about the budget.
I would leave the budget out, I mean, honestly.
They
Any of the
have no
financial
idea
stuff
about
is
the
not
budget.
something, I mean, Crystal might be able to give more information on that, but, you know, other people might not, so. It may just be a portion of the budget that they deal with versus the whole.
All right, so we'll get that together and get that out.
And get it back when?
Think we can do it in 2 weeks? We'll schedule the work session and, another work session in 2 weeks.
So if he sends it out Friday the 11th, 2 weeks the 25th, that following Tuesday's the 29th. Then we got a meeting the 13th, so, I mean, if we can meet the 29th and go over those.
That'd be the Tuesday after Easter. Oh,
No,
Yeah.
the next one.
The next one,
2 weeks after Easter.
week and a half.
The 17th or 18th, 18th or 19th, it's Easter, Good Friday.
So, we're looking at the Tuesday of the 29th?
Tuesday, 29th.
April 29th.
What time? Tuesday, 29th.
Like
Six
that
hours,
would be the time.
Oh.
6:30.
Make it happen.
Tuesday, 29th, write that down.
Is that right?
All right, so we've got that, we'll get that out and everything. Is there anything else in here that we need to evaluate and look at before we go?
So the 29th at what time?
6:30, regular working time.
So, just to be clear, that Part D, we're gonna leave like it is now. Like it'll automatically roll into probation after 2 years.
But if you get a 2-year contract, is that, I mean, why is that even in it now? Cause when it starts, when it ends, the probation ends, the contract would end.
Well, in reality though, it's,
You can extend it.
you can go back to last year's
Yeah.
numbers, cause he was still a girl last year.
Correct.
So how do we want that worded? Do we want it worded the new way, or do we want it worded the old way?
I think we leave it the way it is.
The way it is now.
No, I mean, the way it's in the new contract.
Yeah, shall,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's just my opinion, so. Do we wanna add that wording that TSBA said we need to put in it about as part of that?
Severability.
Yeah, if you'll send that to me, I'll have it added to the end. We'll do that as we'll do it number 23, right up before the entire agreement, right after amendments.
I'll say that tomorrow, I'll say to everybody what they said.
22 is entire agreement, yeah, right after the amendment, 22.
Yeah. We'll do 22, and we'll move that down to 23.
Yeah, it will be TSBA. That would be 23.
Is there anything else in here that needs to? Is everybody fine with everything else?
Trying to remember to break it out.
So the contract would end on, the 30th day of June 2027. That would be 2
Did
years
we
out.
vote on 2 or 4 years, or we just assuming we changed to 2 years?
That's what we were discussing on there, that's the reason I was asking on, how we were gonna, that was one of the changes that we made was 2 years.
I don't think we've ever come up with it. Everybody said they wanted 2 years, 4 years, or what, I don't think the board, the whole board.
I just said I
I-
thought a minimum of 2 years, but nobody else is.
I said I'd liked 4 years, I didn't know whether we voted on it or anything.
We ain't,
That's why we were having a work
we
session.
can't vote on it.
We can say what we're all for, I say 2 years myself, that's.
Okay, Alice,
2 years.
Ricky,
I think it ought to at least be 2.
3 was not bad. 3 or 4.
2.
Shirley,
I'd like at least 3.
Mitch, you wanted 2, correct?
I prefer 12 months, but two is my concession.
Ashley,
I would prefer 12 months as well.
James,
2.
2. Mike,
I'm good with 2.
So it's 7, so 2.
No, Melissa.
Melissa?
She, had to get off the call.
all right.
So-
7 said 2.
Ship was sinking.
She's a
One
captain
said 3.
now.
Well, I'll get with Melissa and see what she wants to do, because if you do that, then there's one that wants 3, then you have 2 that wants 12 months, and the rest are at 2.
I thought they said 2 years.
She's gonna text Melissa and ask her her opinion, that way we know before we close out.
Okay.
So did you all say 12 months?
Ashley and Mitch were 12 months.
2 years.
Mitch said he would
He just
settle,
said 2 years.
he said he would settle with 2 years, but he would prefer 12 months. And then Ashley was 12 months. James was a minimum of 2 years, and Mike was all right with 2 years.
That's 6, it said 2 years, so. That was 10. So if I'm not counting William, but it's still 6. Now the 10 of us said 2 years.
She's checking Melissa to see.
And if we do 2 years, it would be the 30th day of June 2027.
I tell you, I was serving on the ship, can't you? Maybe it's shark fishing.
Maybe the iceberg.
But everything else in here, is there anything else? And I guess I should ask you, Dr. Ivory, are you good with 2 years?
What he said?
So as Ben said, with the 2 years, it would be 6 people saying 2 years. Are we good to set it at that, or?
We'll take 2/3 of the civil majority. 2/3 of the.
Well, that's the reason I was asking everybody.
No, you gotta come to a consensus. I mean, 2 years is the majority, so let's go with 2 years and move on.
All right, so we'll put 2 years in there, and then,
Because to approve it would take 2/3 of the board, the contract itself, right? At the
Takes
meeting.
6.
6, yeah.
If you're hiring a new director, it takes 7. Correct, Mike? Is that correct?
2/3 of the board, isn't it?
We went through that years ago, and
Yeah, we need
the
to.
standard
we-
contract is 6.
We need to double check. It was 2/3 of the
I think they
board, which would have been
changed.
7.
I think they changed
Then
everything
the
to a simple.
Tennessee law changed, I believe, to majority.
To a simple
So it's
But
majority.
we just need to double check that. I'm pretty sure it's majority now.
All right, so we'll get the valuations out, get those back in. We'll have a work session on the 29th. we'll get these amendments made to the, contract, including the one that Ben had from TSBA, get that sent back out to you, then when we get, we'll have all the information for the work session for there, so then we'll go over that work session and go from there.
On the 29th.
Yes. We'll vote on it in the May meeting.
In May.
Does anybody have any problems with that? We're all good? All right, is there anything else? Then we'll call this work session to an end.